like terrorists.
And we need your help.
Stand in the Gap was founded to stand in the gap for J6ers working to rebuild their lives after being incarcerated.
For just $10 or more, you can help these patriots get back on their feet again. Every dollar you give is being matched up to $50,000. Go now to j6support.com and donate today.
Appears to be stalling. Iran now says it has no plans for a new round of talks after the United States seized an Iranian-flagged cargo ship in the Strait of Hormuz. The developments come just hours after President Trump announced his team would be heading to Islamabad for possible negotiations through that path, now, even though that path now appears uncertain. Pakistan, in the meantime, preparing for those talks anyway, locking down parts of the capital and deploying some 20,000 security personnel ahead of any potential meetings. Speaking of, President Trump has even accused Iran of violating the current 2-week ceasefire, which ends later this week. On Truth Social, the president posting, Iran decided to fire bullets yesterday in the Strait of Hormuz, a total violation of our ceasefire agreement. Many of them were aimed at a French ship and a freighter from the United Kingdom. The president added, no more Mr. Nice Guy. They'll come down fast. They'll come down easy. And if they don't take the deal, it will be my honor to do what has to be done, which would include which should have been done, to Iran by other presidents for the last 47 years. On Sunday, President Trump confirming that the vessel tried to get past the U.S. blockade in the Strait of Hormuz. Quote, our Navy ship stopped them right in their tracks by blowing a hole in the engine room. Right now, U.S. Marines have custody of the vessel, he writes. The seizure marks the first interception since the U.S. blockade of the Iranian ports began last week. Here's the interaction between the United States and that Iranian ship leading up to the seizure.
Motor vessel Tosca, vacate your engine room. Vacate your engine room. We're prepared to subject you to disabling fire.
Okay, we gave the flare. Now we're getting.
And just like that, that ship was subdued. It is a day of mourning in Shreveport, Louisiana, after a man killed 8 children in a shooting rampage that's being described as the deadliest shooting in more than 2 years. Investigators say the guy also shot his wife and another woman during the massacre. 7 of the kids were shot inside the home. 1 was killed on the roof of the house while trying to escape the attack, and a surviving child being treated at the hospital right now after jumping off of the roof. The coroner's office says the 3 boys and 5 girls were between 3 and 11 years old. Police ultimately killed the 31-year-old shooter following the police chase and a shootout. Detectives say they are convinced the attack was, quote, entirely a domestic incident, especially since 7 of the kids are the accused shooters. The shooter doesn't appear to have a history of domestic violence issues, but he was arrested in a firearms case back in 2019. And starting today, businesses affected by President Trump's tariffs can begin applying for refunds. The online portal for importers and brokers to claim duties paid on products under the Commander-in-Chief's tariffs is now open. In fact, it was scheduled to open early this morning. It's the first step in a complicated process that may eventually lead to refunds for consumers who saw the costs of tariffs passed along to them. The refunds are thanks to U.S. Supreme Court's ruling that President Trump's tariffs were unconstitutional. Companies have to submit declarations for goods that they believe were illegally tariffed. If U.S. Customs and Border Protection approves the claim, it will take up to 90 days for a refund to be paid. Once again, let's really quickly get back to the current ceasefire between the United States and Iran. It is set to expire this week, and there is concern that the agreement may not be renewed as Iran's military is promising to respond to the U.S. seizure of that Iranian ship that we just told you about. On Sunday, President Trump confirmed that the vessel tried to get past that U.S. blockade in the Strait of Hormuz. Quote, our Navy ship stopped them right in their tracks by blowing a hole in the engine room. So the fight is being taken to the enemy. That's a quick check of your headlines. I'm Terrence Spades.
You did it, Rav audience. High Rez's God Bless America hit #1.
Numero uno.
And it's all because of you showing up, downloading, and making some serious noise.
Anybody who downloaded High Rez's new single on Real America's Music is going to get that hat right there.
And hey, promises made, promises kept. If you grabbed the song and sent in your address and receipt, your free, exclusive Rav hat is officially on the way. Yep, we're packing them up right now and shipping them out all across America. This is what happens when this audience gets behind something. Nobody does it like you. So when that hat lands, throw it on, grab your phone, and show it off. Post a pic or video, tag Real America's Voice, use the hashtag RAM, and you might just see yourself shouted out on air. Thank you for making God Bless America #1. Let's keep it rolling.
We rise with it. This is where hard work meets headlines, where truth matters, and America wakes up informed.
An interesting week.
They all are. This is your country. This is your morning. This is Daybreak with Steve and Ivey Gruber. America, let's do it together.
Love you, Ivey.
Love you too.
And it starts right now.
All right, here we go into another action-packed day, fighting for you from the foxhole of freedom, making sure you have the right person shoulder to shoulder with you when it matters most. We have some big stories to cover, so let's get to it here. The big three for this hour. #1, psychedelics are on the fast track for use by those with PTSD and other illnesses after President Trump signed an executive order to fast track studies that could help people and reduce suicides in the country. #2, retail sales and housing markets indicate the economy is doing far better than many would have you believe. Seems things are stronger, and they just don't want you to know it. And #3, look, I want to shine a spotlight on a story that's gotten buried in the news cycle, it seems, in light of other headlines, but it's something you, the listeners, have been mentioning, so I want to cover it. And that is the fate of Tina Peters. Most of you are familiar with the Tina Peters story, but for those of you who are not, how about a little refresher, a backstory? You see, Tina was an election clerk in Mesa County, Colorado, who became convinced that the voting machines at her location were compromised. Peters' legal team says that she believed the incriminating evidence was going to be deleted during a software update in the wake of the 2020 election, but the county would not allow her to bring in a technology expert. They said no. But you see, Peters took an oath to defend the Constitution and protect it against all enemies. So she felt that she needed to fulfill that promise by bringing somebody in, and she did. She gave someone connected to Mike Lindell a security badge and had him copy the hard drive for the voting machine before the software update. And as a result, she was later charged with a slew of crimes and was ultimately convicted in 2024 of 4 felonies and 3 misdemeanors. The 70-year-old grandmother, a Gold Star mom, by the way, was given 9 years in prison, 9 years, as a first-time offender of a nonviolent crime. That's not justice. That's vengeful, two-tiered hatred. Even Colorado's Governor Jared Polis has admitted that the sentence was completely unfair. Listen.
Governors don't incarcerate people. People are prosecuted. In this case, this particular person got a particularly long sentence that we're examining, and it's probably a too long a sentence, but she did commit a crime. You look at, is there a disparate sentence, but you also look at, does the person take accountability, apologize? Had she done that in court, she wouldn't have gotten 9 years.
Yeah, the governor has also tweeted out how hypocritical the sentence was and is. In March, he wrote this. Last week, former state senator Sonia Yaquez Lewis was sentenced to probation and community service after being convicted of 4 felonies, including attempt to influence a public official. It is not lost on me that she was convicted of the exact same felony charges as Tina Peters, attempting to influence a public official. And yet, Tina Peters, a nonviolent first-time offender, got a 9-year sentence. But other Democrats don't care. They don't share his sentiment, in rare case of common sense. At least 66 Democrats signed a letter urging the Colorado governor not to let Peters off the hook. Why? Why do they hate Tina so much? They hate her because Donald Trump has commented on the situation. Here's what he's had to say about the fact that Governor Polis hasn't acted already. Listen.
The poorly run state of Colorado with a governor who's incompetent, and frankly with a governor that won't allow our wonderful Tina to come out of a jail, in a high-intensity jail, because she caught people cheating on an election, and they said she was cheating. She wasn't cheating. She went over, she looked at one of the election scams going on, and because she did that, they put her in jail for 9 years. The governor of Colorado is a weak and pathetic man who was run by Tren de Aragua, the criminals from Venezuela, took over sections of Colorado, and he was afraid to do anything. But he puts Tina in jail for 9 years because she caught people cheating.
Now, perhaps as a result, Polis extended the deadline for clemency applications to the 3rd of April. So the deadline now has come and gone, but we have yet to hear on his decision, but it really shouldn't be a hard one, because the Court of Appeals this month ruled that Tina Peters' sentence was complete and utter garbage, and they threw it out. Why? Because the trial judge, Judge Barrett, didn't sentence her for the crime she was convicted of. Instead, the judge also punished her heavily for the things she said after the trial. The appeals court ruled this violated her First Amendment right to free speech. You can disagree with what she says, but the government, including a judge at sentencing, cannot give someone extra prison time for expressing their opinions, even if those opinions are potentially false or unpopular. And Judge Barrett was not shy about expressing how much hatred he held toward Peters at her sentencing hearing, which the Court of Appeals took issue with. Just listen to this venom.
You are no hero, you abused your position, and you're a charlatan who used and is still using your prior position in office to peddle a snake oil that's been proven to be junk time and time again. Your lies are well documented, and these convictions are serious. I'm convinced you would do it all over again if you could. You're as defiant as a defendant as this court has ever seen.
And all because she has a belief, one that doesn't harm anyone, and shows concern for the American people, for her voters, a belief that he doesn't agree with. Judge Barrett is a perfect example of what we mean when we talk about activist judges. Although the Court of Appeals agreed that the sentence was garbage, they're directing Peters to appear before the same judge again for a new sentence. And Peters' legal team says it's very disappointed in that decision as well. Here they are.
So in terms of Tina Peters, you're right. We're working on our next moves. We're disappointed at the feckless decision that we got from the Court of Appeals. We're surprised because, the way they were asking questions, they were cognizant of reality and things that that did not show up in their decision, let's put it that way. At least they realize the sentence is too great. Everybody realizes that. But then they want to send us back in front of the same judge that gave us the crazy sentence in the first place. And the name calling, what a biased judge, calling her a charlatan and calling her a liar.
Now, Peters' attorney says that the Court of Appeals fell short of doing what they should have, what they need to do. During the appeal hearing, some of the appeals judges asked tough questions and seemed concerned that the jury instructions might have used wording that described a misdemeanor version of the crime, yet she was convicted, like I told you, and sentenced as felonies. Peters' team said this made the conviction clearly improper. There's even video evidence of the line of questioning. Listen to this.
Is it your position that a person can still be convicted of a crime with which they were never charged and with which the jury was never instructed, as long as the evidence is sufficient?
Yes, I think that is what the case law indicates.
I am baffled as to the position that's being taken that we can somehow overlook that and still enter the felony because the evidence that was presented at trial would have supported the felony. Are you still maintaining that position in front of us here today?
Yes, that is our position.
Here, the jury was affirmatively misinstructed. It was instructed on the misdemeanor, and it found her guilty of that misdemeanor beyond a reasonable doubt. This isn't the omission of an element. This is a misinstructed jury. How can we correct that right by saying, no, we'll just assume that because she could have also been convicted of the felony? And
yeah, it's a sham, start to finish. You get it. We'll have more after this.
You did it Rav audience, High Rez's God Bless America hit #1.
Numero uno.
And it's all because of you showing up, downloading, and making some serious noise.
Anybody who downloaded High Rez's new single on Real America's Music is going to get that hat right there.
And hey, promises made, promises kept. If you grabbed the song and sent in your address and receipt, your free, exclusive Rav hat is officially on the way. Yep, we're packing them up right now and shipping them out all across America. This is what happens when this audience gets behind something. Nobody does it like you. So when that hat lands, throw it on, grab your phone, and show it off. Post a pic or video, tag Real America's Voice, use the hashtag RAM, and you might just see yourself shouted out on air. Thank you for making God Bless America #1. Let's keep it rolling.
Hey folks, it's your friend John Rich. I co-founded Old Glory Bank because we heard too many stories about people getting canceled by their bank because they didn't agree with their politics. The government wanted to know where you shopped. If you bought a Bible or you shopped at a sporting goods store, you're probably on a list. We created Old Glory Bank because America needed a bank that would protect their privacy and security. Exercising your constitutional rights is not a criminal activity, and neither is loving your country. At Old Glory Bank, we stand with you.
I'm a J6er. I spent 1,143 days in prison.
About a year in prison.
We were prosecuted, persecuted.
J6ers have been treated like terrorists.
And we need your help.
Stand in the Gap was founded to stand in the gap for J6ers working to rebuild their lives after being incarcerated.
For just $10 or more, you can help these patriots get back on their feet again. Every dollar you give is being matched up to $50,000. Go now to j6support.com and donate today.
My name is Phoebe, and I live in Florida. I love Real America's Voice. They truly speak for the people, and that's what real patriotism is all about.
I'm Andy M., and I love Real America's Voice, where my voice counts and your voice counts. That is America's Voice.
This is Giselle Chaffin. I'm from North Carolina. I'd like to let you know that Rav News is the best news. #1 news. Truth seekers seek to find the truth. It'll set you free.
All right, like I said, the whole thing a sham, start to finish. The prosecution was so vengeful, so hateful, they got away with straight up lying about Tina Peters and her actions in order to secure an extra conviction, or several. That, according to Tina Peters' legal team. Here they are again.
In a hearing, the prosecutor accused Tina Peters of recording the hearing on her iPad. And she denied it. And the state took the iPad. And then they were able to actually get a conviction for contempt on the prosecutor saying that she recorded, even though she was denying it. And then eventually they returned the iPad. And as soon as they returned it, the lawyers at that time that were involved, they took that iPad, they gave it to experts who were able to determine that nobody ever recorded any hearing on that. It was fiction out of the mouth of a lying prosecutor.
Yeah. Like I said, a witch hunt, and one that Democrats have been more than happy to pursue. When Peters' verdict came down, Colorado's Attorney General had no shame admitting that they were making an example out of Tina. He stated, quote, "Today's verdict is a warning to others that they will face serious consequences if they attempt to illegally tamper with our voting processes or election systems. I want to be clear. Our elections are safe and fair." Safe and fair? Safe and fair? We now know, thanks to our friends over at Just the News and John Solomon, that our elections, especially the 2020 elections, which Tina was concerned about, are not even close to safe and fair when Democrats are in charge. In the summer of 2020, the FBI received intelligence from a confidential source alleging that China was manufacturing and shipping thousands of fake U.S. driver's licenses to the United States to help create fraudulent mail-in ballots for Joe Biden. And it worked. On August 24th, the FBI sent an advisory bulletin to the CIA and other spy agencies detailing the plot, which reportedly used TikTok data to target battleground states. Shortly after, the FBI recalled the report, ordering agencies to take all copies and destroy them and delete it from their systems, supposedly to re-interview the source. The raw intelligence was never fully investigated or publicly disclosed at the time. Why? Well, because the report directly contradicted then FBI Director Christopher Wray's sworn testimony. My friends, this is pure evil and an undermining of our national security. China and many more of our enemies are doing everything they can to influence this nation for their own benefit. And Democrats are fine looking the other way. It's not just election plots. The CCP has been manipulating our airwaves, meeting with high-level executives over at the Voice of America, which is the largest and oldest of the U.S.'s existing international broadcasting links, funded by the U.S. government, by the way. Carrie Lake has been tasked with righting this wrong, and she's testified in front of Congress about the problem. It's extensive. Here she is.
They're literally were attending meetings at the Chinese embassy in Washington, D.C. And this is a report that I find rather shocking, and I mentioned it. Starting in the first decade of 2000, the Chinese embassy in Washington, D.C. and the leadership of VOA's Mandarin service began an annual meeting to allow embassy officials to voice their opinions about VOA's content. They even convinced the former leadership during Biden's administration to cut short an interview. They wanted the whole thing canceled. They convinced VOA leadership to cut short an interview with a whistleblower who was critical of the CCP. And this just continues. This is an article that came out, I believe it was in March. VOA's senior executives frequently traveled to China, attending state-sponsored events and meeting with Chinese embassy officials. These meetings weren't casual diplomatic exchanges. They involved soliciting feedback on VOA's programming.
Yeah. These are the kinds of games that are going on, that are legal, by the way. While Gord's star mom, Tina Peters, is riding behind bars. Now, that's not right. It's not justice. And we need to keep the pressure on, making sure Colorado knows that. I'm calling attention to it again today because it's not too late for Governor Polis to do the right thing. If we make our voices heard, maybe he will. Maybe he'll finally step up and do the right thing. We'll have to find out if that turns out to be the case. This part of the program brought to you by my friends at GhostBed. I used to think a mattress was just furniture until I got my GhostBed. And honestly, that first night, I woke up thinking, wow, this is what good sleep is supposed to be. GhostBed doesn't build mattresses like furniture. They build engineered sleep systems. And we truly enjoy them. Their beds are serious health equipment. Beds designed for relief and recovery, not good looks and fluff. Your body should be healing while you sleep, not fighting for comfort. And we've noticed a difference right away. If you're waking up stiff, tossing and turning, sleeping hot, even reaching for a pain med before you go to bed, hoping tonight will be different, my friends, that's not aging. That could be your mattress talking. And here's another thing that I love about GhostBed. You get 101 nights. It's more than 3 months to try it at home. If you don't feel the difference, you send it back. Risk-free. GhostBed, American-made, and offering my audience their lowest prices of the season plus an extra 10% off. What do you need to do? Just go to ghostbed.com/Gruber. Use the promo code Gruber. That's ghostbed.com/Gruber. The promo code is Gruber. You're going to save money like you never have before. All right, in other headlines today, the ceasefire with Iran ends tomorrow, and Iran is making all sorts of threats, but the U.S. blockade of the Strait of Hormuz remains in effect this morning. And what does that mean? It means Iran's losing more than $400 million a day. They can't ship any of their oil. Their oil wells are going to have to come to a stop here soon because they're going to run out of storage for all the oil they do have and have been pumping for the past many days. They only had about 2 weeks of storage capacity when the blockade began. Iran has a very tough road in front of them. Either they comply and make a serious deal with no nuclear weapons on the horizon, with no hostilities towards the Strait of Hormuz, that Hormuz remains an international waterway as it is and will be. Donald Trump says he will resume hostilities. That deadline is tomorrow. We'll keep a very close eye on it for you because it's critical. Meanwhile, the economy doing well. We'll talk more about that coming up. And you can follow me on all the social media platforms. Please do. Let's see, Facebook, X, Instagram, TikTok, Getter, all of them. Slap that like button and get behind something that's working. I'll be right back.
This May 2nd, step into history at Ellis Island, where over 12 million immigrants first set foot on the path to the American dream. Experience an unforgettable evening with exclusive access to the museum, rare artifacts, live entertainment, and a powerful 3-course dinner inside one of the most iconic landmarks in the world. Hear from voices like Glenn Beck as we celebrate the heroes, the heritage, and the future of this great nation. As the night builds, fireworks will light up New York Harbor, honoring 250 years of freedom. And if you can't be there, the RAV team will be there on the ground for full minute-by-minute reporting. One nation, one story, one unforgettable night.
All right, so how about those psychedelics? Psychedelics, right? Shares of psychedelic drug developers rose in pre-market trading to start the week because President Donald Trump over the weekend signed an executive order directing health regulators to speed up reviews of psychedelic drugs and boosted federal research funding. Shares of Atai Life Sciences jumped 26%. Definium Therapeutics rose 14%. Compass Pathways up 24%. The executive order, in case you missed it over the weekend, tells the U.S. Food and Drug Administration to fast-track reviews of treatments such as ibogaine, a psychedelic compound being studied for mental health conditions, including post-traumatic stress disorder, depression, and addiction. Apparently, it works really well. And for some folks that are traveling to Mexico, the psychedelic comes from a bush in Asia, from the leaves of a bush in Asia, right? But what they found were people were on their way to Mexico. It was their last stop before committing suicide. And for many of them, it worked. It worked. So they're trying it. The order directs the agency to give commissioners national priority vouchers to psychedelic drugs to have the breakthrough therapy tag, potentially cutting the review time from just 1 to 2 months from the usual 6-10 months or a year. So there's something going on here with psychedelics. What do you think about it? Send me an email. Love to hear from you. SteveGruber.com. SteveGruber.com. Send me an email. What do you think about psychedelics or anything else we talk about? Now, if your flannel feels thin, flimsy, or worn out after one wash, you're doing it wrong. Muskox. Built different. Heavyweight, rugged, insanely comfortable. These aren't fashion flannels. They're made from thick, double-brush cotton that actually holds up in cold weather, hard work, and real life. And they look great doing it. Even better, every Muskox flannel helps support wildlife conservation. It's a great plan. Right now, you can score $15 off when you use the code HEAVYWEIGHT at gomuskox.com/heavyweight. That's gomuskox.com/heavyweight. Promo code HEAVYWEIGHT. Stop buying weak flannels. Step up to an American company. Step up to Muskox. All right, the dangers of AI. Humans' first takes to D.C. What about AI? We're going to talk about it in depth coming up. Glad to see you this morning. This is Daybreak.
This May 2nd, step into history at Ellis Island, where over 12 million immigrants first set foot on the path to the American dream. Experience an unforgettable evening with exclusive access to the museum, rare artifacts, live entertainment, and a powerful 3-course dinner inside one of the most iconic landmarks in the world. Hear from voices like Glenn Beck as we celebrate the heroes, the heritage, and the future of this great nation. As the night builds, fireworks will light up New York Harbor, honoring 250 years of freedom. And if you can't be there, the RAV team will be there on the ground for full minute-by-minute reporting. One nation, one story, one unforgettable night.
Through every storm, every moment of uncertainty,
everybody needs to pray for Charlie Kirk right now.
RAV has stood strong.
We're not going to tolerate this stuff anymore.
Turn that anger into motivation to save this nation.
When we move together, there is power.
The cries of this widow will echo like a battle cry.
This is more than news. It's a movement.
This revolution of people taking their countries back.
A turning point. A chance to be part of something greater than yourself. Scan the QR code and stand with RAV. The story isn't over, and neither is your part in it. Step in. Be counted. Be heard. Together, we are RAV.
We will achieve American greatness. And we are just getting started.
This is Rashad from Boston, Massachusetts, and I love Real America's Voice. It is the best place for real news and content. Much love.
Hi, my name's Paul Poyer. I'm Poyer04 in the Getter Chat. I love RAV for all the Getter, all the War Room Posse, and all of you guys. Love y'all. Bye.
My name is Kyle. I'm with Real America's Voice because we can chat with each other, the hosts, even management. We are the RAV family, and we're better together.
All right, AI, a beautiful tool, right? It's a beautiful tool. At least it can be. But just like everything man makes, it can also be used for bad ideas and bad undertakings. So where do we sit in the AI conversation now? Incredibly important one we're going to have with Amy Kramer, chair of Humans First, a longtime conservative activist, Tea Party leader, and founder of Women for Trump. Amy, nice to see you today.
Good to see you this morning, Steve. Thanks for having me.
All right, an AI showdown. Humans First, you're taking it to D.C., and you're putting people on the record. One of the people with you, Marsha Blackburn, the senator from Tennessee. What are your concerns? What is happening that has alarmed you so much to take steps like this?
Well, I'm here. We are hosting a People's AI Town Hall in Washington, D.C. tomorrow night at the National Press Club, and Senator Marsha Blackburn will be there. She's been one of the leaders in this movement to protect families and children and American jobs and to put safeguards around these big AI companies. Steve, AI is a great tool. We've already seen great things happen with it, and honestly, our team uses it every single day for a lot of things. But the reality is there are no safeguards around these companies, and they are racing to super intelligence, and they are trying to bypass the people, circumvent the American people with no laws and regulations. What is unbelievable to me is that If an airliner has an incident, they're required to report it. If a hospital has an incident, if pharmaceutical companies, but with these AI companies, there's no reporting requirements whatsoever. And what we already know is it's being used. People are taking their own lives at the encouragement of chatbots. There's terroristic activity that has happened that has been planned through using chatbots, and they're not required to report any of this. The only reason we know about these things is because of lawsuits that have been filed against these large companies, and that's just not right. This technology was built on American data, American land, with American infrastructure and American, resources, taxpayer dollars invested in these companies. And we want the people to have a seat at the table and have a voice in this. And right now, the American people have no voice whatsoever.
None whatsoever. Look, AI, it seeps into everything. Everybody uses AI every day that's anywhere in the modern world. Pretty simple, whether it's your car giving you directions, or it's your phone telling you something, or your phone telling you to buy something because you mentioned it, and suddenly it pops up on your phone, here's the ad for the company you just mentioned, and so on and so forth. But what are your concerns? Look, I mean, when it comes to creating fake videos, fake narratives, fake everything, it can do all that, and you're right, it has led to suicides among children because of things happening out there. It's led to destructive behavior. It's led to terrorist underpinnings in this country. What is the most concerning to you, or is it all of it?
It's all of it. But when you're talking, I'm a former flight attendant who was flying on September 11th and was impacted by that day and will be impacted the rest of my life. When you talk about the when you talk about the British Columbia shooting a couple of months ago, that was planned using ChatGPT. And according to information that is out there now, 12 people on the inside were flagged. They flagged those conversations, took them to their bosses, and nothing was done about it. It could have been stopped. You had a man, 36-year-old Jonathan Gavalis out of Jupiter, Florida, who his chatbot, quote unquote, wife encouraged him to take his own life. But before he took his own life, she told him to go to Miami International Airport and create terroristic activity causing mass casualty. Fortunately, he was not successful in that. He ended up taking his own life. And then just last week, you probably saw that the Florida Attorney General has opened an investigation into OpenAI because the Florida State shooting that happened 1 year ago on April 17th, ChatGPT, again, was used to plan that shooting. And so that is something that should be on the minds of every American. It should wake everybody up. And what's most concerning about this is that we have these big tech oligarchs, these billionaire oligarchs that could care less about the American people. And Steve, I just want to say, these are the same people that have censored conservatives since before 2020 and then after 2020. These people are they're not on our side. All they care about is control and power. And all we're asking for is to have a seat at the table and to put regulations and laws into place so that there is accountability and transparency and that they are accountable to the American people. It's just not acceptable for us to continue down this road.
Seeing is believing is what people say. It's been a saying, all my life. Seeing is believing. The problem is when things are created by AI, you see things that just aren't real. And so my concern is a bit different. My concern is about how you manage elections. If AI seeps into elections, if AI gets involved in our elections and creates things that aren't real, we've been through this already. A lot of questions. That's why we need the Save America Act in place. But what about the impact of AI on elections, like this year, for example?
No, you're absolutely right. AI is a big concern when it comes to our elections. And, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but just recently, the new version of Claude, Mythos, they had emergency meetings at the Treasury. The Secretary of the Treasury called these emergency meetings to meet with all the banks. They're concerned about this technology taking down our financial system. And if it could take down our financial system, what impact could it have on elections, let alone getting into videos and graphics being put out there by campaigns, and there's no disclosures on it. I mean, it's a big concern. But again, this is the thing: these oligarchs want no laws or regulations, and we can't even get John Thune to pass the Save America Act. They had to do FISA under the cover of darkness. It failed the first time. There's only 43 days left where the House and Senate are both in session the same time between now and midterm election day, November 3rd. And so what they want is they are pushing this preemption where the states can't make their own laws and it has to fall under the federal government. Well, I want to bring up Governor Ron DeSantis is a hero on this. He tried to get an AI Bill of Rights passed back during their legislative session, and it failed because their Speaker of the House said, no, we're not doing it, because he got a call from the White House, a staffer at the White House, not the president, but a staffer. And so it failed in the Florida House. So now Speaker DeSantis has called a special session. They're having a special session next Tuesday, the 28th, through Friday, May 1st. And part of that special session is to get this AI Bill of Rights passed. They've attached it to the redistricting in Florida. So we have a real opportunity for one of these states to step up and lead. Texas has stepped up and led with Senator Angela Paxton. It is happening across the country, but the people need to wake up and see what's going on because it impacts every facet of our lives, and we need to have a say in this. And these data centers, Steve, we haven't even mentioned the data centers, these AI hyperscale data centers that are going in, is the backbone in the manufacturing of AI. That is we haven't mentioned surveillance, the surveillance of the American people. And that's where all the data is being collected and stored. These data centers are not
files
for
on all of us,
who are just checking email.
Yeah, there's files on all of it.
Yeah.
There's no question about that at this point. And if you're not in a file, what are you doing wrong, I would ask you? But you are in a file somewhere. Amy, I got to leave it there for today. A lot of attention then on this special session in Florida to see where this goes. And then we'll have you back shortly thereafter because this is an important topic that affects everybody every day. Amy Kramer, thank you for being here.
Thank you so much.
Really appreciate it. I look forward to your comments at stevegruber.com. Send me an email. What do you think about AI taking over everything? I look forward to reading them. I'll be right back.
This May 2nd, step into history at Ellis Island, where over 12 million immigrants first set foot on the path to the American dream. Experience an unforgettable evening with exclusive access to the museum, rare artifacts, live entertainment, and a powerful 3-course dinner inside one of the most iconic landmarks in the world. Hear from voices like Glenn Beck as we celebrate the heroes, the heritage, and the future of this great nation. As the night builds, fireworks will light up New York Harbor, honoring 250 years of freedom. And if you can't be there, the RAV team will be there on the ground for full minute-by-minute reporting. One nation, one story, one unforgettable night.
Through every storm, every moment of uncertainty,
everybody needs to pray for Charlie Kirk right now.
RAV has stood strong.
We're not going to tolerate this stuff anymore.
Turn that anger into motivation to save this nation.
When we move together, there is power.
The cries of this widow will echo like a battle cry.
This is more than news. It's a movement.
This revolution of people taking their countries back.
A turning point. A chance to be part of something greater than yourself. Scan the QR code and stand with RAV. The story isn't over, and neither is your part in it. Step in. Be counted. Be heard. Together, we are RAV.
We will achieve American greatness. And we are just getting started.
This is Rashad from Boston, Massachusetts, and I love Real America's Voice. It is the best place for real news and content. Much love.
Hi, my name's Paul Poyer. I'm Poyer04 in the Getter Chat. I love rap for all the Getter, all the War Room Posse. and all of you guys. Love y'all. Bye.
My name is Kyle. I'm with Real America's Voice because we can chat with each other, the host, even management. We are the RAV family, and we're better together.
All right, let's jump back into the program now. I saw this story out of California, and it really caught my attention because in this interconnected world, man, there are thieves out there, and they've got your number dialed in. I want you to hear this story man, they'll find new and interesting ways to steal from you every single day. Listen to this one.
An early morning FBI fraud takedown across LA County. Fox 11, the only TV crew there, as federal agents and police storm a North Hollywood home, zeroing in on a man they say is tied to a sprawling mortgage fraud scheme.
It's a complex fraud scheme in which people are using private citizens' homes to leverage that to steal money.
So they figure out the information. They steal your house, well, at least on paper, and then use that to steal from other people, moving all of these different players on the chessboard, if you will. Tom Simon joining me, spokesman for Home Title Lock, former FBI special agent, 26 years experience investigating white-collar crime, counterterrorism, and national security matters as well. Tom, here we go again. Look, this is a complex scheme. All sorts of people involved here. What do you know about this one?
Yeah, so the criminals here, it was a group of 11 people, obtained hard money loans using senior citizens' houses as collateral, with the proceeds going into bank accounts the bad guys had established using synthetic identities. We're talking $17 million here.
$17 million over what period of time?
It was just over a few months. The lenders are the ones who are going to suffer the economic losses, but I look at it from the senior citizen homeowner's perspective, right? They now have liens on their houses in the county clerk's office, but these unwitting lenders had placed on their houses, and it's going to be the homeowner's responsibility to get those liens removed.
All right, so $17 million in mortgage fraud schemes, and this is just one example of how this plays out. 11 people involved over a few months. What happens to these people? What are the laws on the books, Tom, to hold these people accountable?
Well, again, there's not a specific law involving home title theft, so they're going to be charged with wire fraud. And, my guess is that the 11 people are going to start cooperating against each other, and the first people in the door get the best deal.
Right. But somebody's going to... Here's the problem. The pace of technology is outpacing the law. That's pretty clear. If stealing somebody's title to get $17 million by using elderly people's titles as collateral for something that you stole to steal something else, it's quite a complex thing. And the laws are not keeping up with how fast the criminals are moving. Am I right?
I agree. Absolutely. There needs to be a law in the books making home title theft a crime itself. The crazy thing is the homeowners don't even know they've been victimized until the foreclosure notices start arriving in the mail months later.
All right, so you work for Home Title Lock, and if this happened to somebody and they had Home Title Lock, they're protected from this sort of a scam, aren't they?
Absolutely. Home Title Lock is going to monitor the status of your home title. They're going to notify you if a lien is placed upon your home because someone goes out and gets a loan on it, and then they have a U.S.-based restoration team that's going to spend $1 million making sure that home is placed back into your proper name.
Yeah. Time to protect yourself. If you're watching right now, I don't want the next story that we air here with you, with Tom, is about you. Protect yourself. Tom Simon, out there finding these stories, $17 million. Don't let this be you. Tom, thank you for being here.
Thanks so much for having me on.
All right. Use the promo code Gruber at HometitleLock.com to make sure the title of your home is still in your name. They're going after that equity. You pay your mortgage for all these years, and they say, oh, nice target. By the way, you'll also get a free title history report plus a free 14-day trial of the $1 million triple lock protection at Home Title Lock. That's 24/7 monitoring of your title, urgent alerts of any changes, and if fraud does happen, they'll spend up to $1 million to fix it. Go to HometitleLock.com. Promo code is Gruber. HometitleLock.com. Promo code is Gruber. HometitleLock.com. GhostBed.com. Well, keeping an eye on everything happening in the economy right now, let's take a look at this. Gas prices down again, 2 cents more. National average down to $4.02. Could break below $4 here in the next 24 hours, which is good news. Gas down from its peak. That's good news. It was in the 420s. Now it's down 25 cents. Oil at $86 at this hour. It went up just a little bit. It's pretty steady. The ceasefire, you see, is going to potentially come to an end tomorrow. I hope it does not. I hope that reasonable people in Iran will step to the table and say, let's put this thing to bed. Let's give you the nuclear material. Let's stop this. Iran is getting devastated. $400 million a day or more in losses. That's $13 billion a month. They cannot sustain it. Plus, their oil industry is in peril. Not just today, but in the future. They can only store so much oil. At some point here soon, they're going to have to stop pumping oil because they have no place to store it. And then brackish water enters the well. The well is ruined. You don't just restart a well. It doesn't work that way. The well is ruined. Iran does what, 1.5 million barrels a day? If you take that away from them, they're in real trouble. Not to mention, as you look at the economy here, if this thing is solved and the Strait of Hormuz goes back to normal and ships start moving again, and everything's in good shape, the economy here in the United States is just sitting there ready to take off. It's ready to take off. Let's see. Modest pickup for February in retail sales, same in March. A small gain, but firmer prices and support from tax refunds. That didn't hurt. Those big tax refunds boosting the economy. March, April, May. Inflation probably going to be up just a little bit because of the energy prices. But the energy prices were up for a brief period of time. Diesel was expensive. The diesel price also coming down just a little bit. But diesel remains pretty expensive. And for me, I have a diesel truck, so that's not the best thing ever. What is the diesel price? It is $5.51. It's down from $5.65 a week ago, so it's down 14 cents. That is good news, a step in the right direction, but we have a long way to go to get there. $5.20 a month ago, so it's not where it was a month ago. Certainly not where it was a year ago. Diesel was $3.55, and that affects everything. So you'll have a bit of a spike in inflation. What do you think about all this? What's going to happen in Iran? We're watching closely. There were supposed to be talks. These talks are not happening. Who's in charge of Iran? Nobody seems to know. That's a big question and a big problem. This is Daybreak. Nice to see you today. I'll be right back.
This May 2nd, step into history at Ellis Island, where over 12 million immigrants first set foot on the path to the American dream. Experience an unforgettable evening with exclusive access to the museum, rare artifacts, live entertainment, and a powerful 3-course dinner inside one of the most iconic landmarks in the world. Hear from voices like Glenn Beck as we celebrate the heroes, the heritage, and the future of this great nation. As the night builds, fireworks will light up New York Harbor, honoring 250 years of freedom. And if you can't be there, the RAV team will be there on the ground for full minute-by-minute reporting. One nation, one story, one unforgettable night.
Through every storm, every moment of uncertainty,
everybody needs to pray for Charlie Kirk right now.
RAV has stood strong.
We're not going to tolerate this stuff anymore.
Turn that anger into motivation to save this nation.
When we move together, there is power.
The cries of this widow will echo like a battle cry.
This is more than news. It's a movement.
This revolution of people taking their countries back.
A turning point. A chance to be part of something greater than yourself. Scan the QR code and stand with RAV. The story isn't over, and neither is your part in it. Step in. Be counted. Be heard. Together, we are RAV.
We will achieve American greatness. And we are just getting started.
This is Rashad from Boston, Massachusetts, and I love Real America's Voice. It is the best place for real news and content. Much love.
Hi, my name's Paul Poyer. I'm Poyer04 in the Getter Chat. I love rap for all the Getter, all the War Room Posse, and all of you guys. Love y'all. Bye.
Well, in case you missed it, yesterday, Kash Patel, the director of the FBI, filed a lawsuit against the Atlantic, as well he should, against the Atlantic because of sweeping, malicious, and defamatory hit piece, he says. It alleges he is an alcoholic, basically. Patel in the 19-page suit also says the Atlantic Monthly and staff writer Sarah Fitzpatrick are, of course, free to criticize the leadership of the FBI, but they crossed the line legally by publishing an article replete with false and obviously fabricated allegations designed to destroy his reputation and drive him from office. It's a $250 million lawsuit against the Atlantic filed by Kash Patel, the director of the FBI. Strange day in America, isn't it? I mean, I look at social media every day and I think, man, the place has gone nuts. All these terrible things and you know, at the Democratic convention in Michigan over the weekend, the mainstream Democrats were booed off the stage, and the radical fringe leftists were applauded robustly. El Sayed is now the leading candidate for the Democrats for U.S. Senate. Out in Maine, you've got Plattner out there, the guy with a literal Nazi tattoo on his chest, the leading Democrat candidate for Senate in Maine. I'm sorry, these are not normal candidates. They're not. They should not be viewed as such because they are not. And here we are. And I look at this thing and look, I do my best to stay positive and optimistic. But we're getting bombarded from China, from radical terrorist organizations, from people inside our own country, everywhere, being bombarded every single day. Just makes you wonder, you know, death by 1,000 cuts. You can only protect yourself from so many different directions, right? But we're hanging in there, but there's a lot going on. And you got to be mindful of all of it. You got to watch your six every single day because they're coming from different directions. Keep that in mind. It's Daybreak. I am optimistic. We can take care of this, but there's a lot of work to be done. Another big hour. Ivey joining me after the break as well. Straight ahead here on Daybreak.
This May 2nd, step into history at Ellis Island, where over 12 million immigrants first set foot on the path to the American dream. An unforgettable evening with exclusive access to the museum, rare artifacts, live entertainment, and a powerful 3-course dinner inside one of the most iconic landmarks in the world. Hear from voices like Glenn Beck as we celebrate the heroes, the heritage, and the future of this great nation. As the night builds, fireworks will light up New York Harbor, honoring 250 years of freedom. And if you can't be there, the RAV team will be there on the ground for full minute-by-minute reporting. One nation, one story, one unforgettable night.
Through every storm, every moment of uncertainty,
everybody needs to pray for Charlie Kirk right now.
RAV has stood strong.
We're not going to tolerate this stuff anymore.
Turn that anger into motivation to save this nation.
When we move together, there is power.
The cries of this widow will echo like a battle cry.
This is more than news. It's a movement.
This revolution of people taking their countries back.
A turning point. A chance to be part of something greater than yourself. Scan the QR code and stand with Rav. The story isn't over, and neither is your part in it. Step in. Be counted. Be heard. Together, we are Rav.
We will achieve American greatness. And we are just.
To this Real America's Voice news break, I'm Terrence Bates. Tensions with Iran are escalating yet again as a diplomatic effort appears to be stalling. Iran now says it has no plans for a new round of talks after the United States seized an Iranian-flagged cargo ship in the Strait of Hormuz. The developments come just hours after President Trump announced his team would be heading to Islamabad for possible negotiations through that path, now, even though that path now appears uncertain. Pakistan, in the meantime, preparing for those talks anyway, locking down parts of the capital and deploying some 20,000 security personnel ahead of any potential meetings. Speaking of, President Trump has even accused Iran of violating the current 2-week ceasefire, which ends later this week. On Truth Social, the president posting, Iran decided to fire bullets yesterday in the Strait of Hormuz, a total violation of our ceasefire agreement. Many of them were aimed at a French ship and a freighter from the United Kingdom. The president added, no more Mr. Nice Guy. They'll come down fast. They'll come down easy. And if they don't take the deal, it will be my honor to do what has to be done, which would include which should have been done, to Iran by other presidents for the last 47 years. On Sunday, President Trump confirming that the vessel tried to get past the U.S. blockade in the Strait of Hormuz. Quote, our Navy ship stopped them right in their tracks by blowing a hole in the engine room. Right now, U.S. Marines have custody of the vessel, he writes. The seizure marks the first interception since the U.S. blockade of the Iranian ports began last week. Here's the interaction between the United States and that Iranian ship leading up to the seizure.
Motor vessel Tosca, vacate your engine room. Vacate your engine room. We're prepared to subject you to disabling fire.
Okay, we gave the flare. Now we're getting.
And just like that, that ship was subdued. It is a day of mourning in Shreveport, Louisiana, after a man killed 8 children in a shooting rampage that's being described as the deadliest shooting in more than 2 years. Investigators say the guy also shot his wife and another woman during the massacre. 7 of the kids were shot inside the home. 1 was killed on the roof of the house while trying to escape the attack, and a surviving child being treated at the hospital right now after jumping off of the roof. The coroner's office says the 3 boys and 5 girls were between 3 and 11 years old. Police ultimately killed the 31-year-old shooter following the police chase and a shootout. Detectives say they are convinced the attack was, quote, entirely a domestic incident, especially since 7 of the kids are the accused shooters. The shooter doesn't appear to have a history of domestic violence issues, but he was arrested in a firearms case back in 2019. And starting today, businesses affected by President Trump's tariffs can begin applying for refunds. The online portal for importers and brokers to claim duties paid on products under the Commander-in-Chief's tariffs is now open. In fact, it was scheduled to open early this morning. It's the first step in a complicated process that may eventually lead to refunds for consumers who saw the costs of tariffs passed along to them. The refunds are thanks to U.S. Supreme Court's ruling that President Trump's tariffs were unconstitutional. Companies have to submit declarations for goods that they believe were illegally tariffed. If U.S. Customs and Border Protection approves the claim, it will take up to 90 days for a refund to be paid. Once again, let's really quickly get back to the current ceasefire between the United States and Iran. It is set to expire this week, and there is concern that the agreement may not be renewed as Iran's military is promising to respond to the U.S. seizure of that Iranian ship that we just told you about. On Sunday, President Trump confirmed that the vessel tried to get past that U.S. blockade in the Strait of Hormuz. Quote, "Our Navy ship stopped them right in their tracks by blowing a hole in the engine room." So the fight is being taken to the enemy. That's a quick check of your headlines. I'm Terrence Bates.
This May 2nd, step into history at Ellis Island, where over 12 million immigrants first set foot on the path to the American dream. Experience an unforgettable evening with exclusive access to the museum, rare artifacts, live entertainment, and a powerful three-course dinner inside one of the most iconic landmarks in the world. Hear from voices like Glenn Beck as we celebrate the heroes, the heritage, and the future of this great nation. As the night builds, fireworks will light up New York Harbor, honoring 250 years of freedom. And if you can't be there, the RAV team will be there on the ground for full minute-by-minute reporting. One nation, one story, one unforgettable night.
Through every storm, every moment of uncertainty,
everybody needs to pray for Charlie Kirk right now.
RAV has stood strong.
We're not going to tolerate this stuff anymore.
Turn that anger into motivation to save this nation.
When we move together, there is power.
The cries of this widow will echo like a battle cry.
This is more than news. It's a movement.
This revolution of people taking their countries back.
A turning point. A chance to be part of something greater than yourself. Scan the QR code and stand with RAV. The story isn't over, and neither is your part in it. Step in. Be counted. Be heard. Together, we are RAV.
We will achieve American greatness. And we are just...
Redistricting is now pushing it very hard, this gerrymandering. Here, listen to this.
2016, when Eric Holder, right when he got out of the Obama administration, started the Democrat Redistricting Commission. And then in 2022 and again in 2024, they pressed to pick up seats in New York. But with all that said, it's about Virginia. And Virginia in 2020 held a constitutional referendum, amended our Constitution to have nonpartisan, independent redistricting. 2/3 of Virginians said we want politics out, politicians out. And now we have Abigail Spanberger saying she's going to ignore the voice of Virginians, override them, and try to adopt the most gerrymandered map in America. Today we have what is assessed as the fairest map in America. I don't love it. It's 6 Democrats and 5 Republicans, but it's fair. And she wants to override it and turn it into the most gerrymandered map in America. It's wrong. Virginians should stand up and vote no.
Nothing like rigging the system. That's Glenn Youngkin, the former governor, by the way. And that's Ivey. She's joining me this morning, as always, with a big smile on her face. It's what she does. Ivey, good morning.
Good morning. Yeah, that seems to me that this is going to be silencing the conservative voters in Virginia. That's right. and dramatically favor the Democratic Party. So tell myself and the listeners and the viewers here, can you give us a little background? How did we get here from her saying, all right, we're going to have a commission, to now she's going to redraw these congressional districts?
Well, not quite yet. It's going to a vote today. The people of Virginia are going to vote. The last time I looked at polls, though, redistricting was winning by 5 percentage points. I don't know how it's going to play out. Here's something else they did to game the system. The Republicans wanted a picture of the map on the ballot. They fought it, so there's no picture. People don't even know what they're voting for because they don't see the map. Because basically what they're doing is going all the way into Arlington, Virginia, and putting a route, if you will, for every district in that deep blue part of the state, so that every district has this route of blue voters. It's totally rigged, taking it from 6-5 to 10-1. And again, as the former governor pointed out there, people in Virginia in 2020 voted for a nonpartisan commission to create the districts. They're just overturning the will of the voters.
Wouldn't there also be a reason to wait for the next census to redraw maps?
Well, you've made a lot of things going on with gerrymandering and redistricting. All right, let's look at the whole picture. It's a great question. Thank you. Louisiana versus Calais is the case in front of the Supreme Court, where they're probably most likely going to throw out districts that are drawn because of race. That's illegal. It'll overturn Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act. So that would give the Republicans about a 12-seat push. Now, it might not happen this year because many states are not ready, but then you put the census in that you just mentioned.
Okay.
The 2030 census, because there's a big shift from blue states to red states, right? Florida's getting fat, Tennessee's getting fat, Texas is getting fat, while Illinois, New York, California are shedding people. So that'll shift another 14 seats, it's estimated, to the Republicans. So we're talking about 26, 27 seats to the Republicans by 2030. But, Ivey, I don't think we can wait 5 years and see what happens. I can't roll those dice.
Well, I mean, we may not have a choice, but isn't there something happening in Florida, too, for redistricting?
Yeah, actually, there's a special session coming into Florida. We just talked about this with the previous guest, Amy Kramer. It was called by Governor DeSantis to redistrict Florida. That might be 2 or 3 seats. And so
when does this happen? Is this coming up soon?
Yeah, in the next couple of weeks. They're going to have this special session that the governor's calling.
I see.
And one of maybe the main reason on the ballot is to redistrict Florida. Because, look, here it is. A red state's going to try to make it red. A blue state's trying to make it blue. I think that we should just have equal districts. Because I think if people vote, I mean, you look at New England, there's not a single Republican in all of New England because Massachusetts, Connecticut, all these states have made it such that it's a one-party state all the way through New England.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, then there was I think, too, you had talked about in the past, California having more congressional power than it should because it's been voting or been counting illegals there. And so they have more congressional members.
Yeah, about 7, I think.
I wonder, too, with all of these deportations happening, I mean, millions of people being deported and self-deporting, too, if that's going to be impactful, too, in some of these states.
Interesting, you should ask that. I just reached over to grab this article that's been sitting on my desk for a couple of days. Here is the headline. It's a great question again. Stats show Trump's immigration policy is doing very real and long-term damage to the political power of blue cities and states. You see, when people leave California, they don't have as many noses to count. When people leave Illinois and New York, they don't have as many noses to count. So when you stop the flow, this unmitigated flow of illegals, it means that Democrat states are losing the political power that they stole. Look, California counts about 3.5 million illegals, near as I can figure. That's about 7 seats in Congress, roughly, right? And that means that California has 7 seats in Congress and in the Electoral College, so they have a disproportionate amount of power because people in states like our own, where we don't have a big illegal population in Michigan, relatively speaking, right? We don't get a congressional seat. California steals a seat from Michigan, from Ohio, from whoever.
Right, and probably more than one.
Right, but they steal one from us, one from Ohio, one from Illinois.
Right, I see.
So they steal power, and California is overrepresented in Congress and overrepresented in the Electoral College.
And that's probably true for other states like New York. Would you agree?
Absolutely true. And what I'm getting at here, President Trump would have won the election by a far greater margin if the census, and they all admit now that the 2020 election was, quote, flawed. It wasn't flawed. They cheated.
Well, and I was actually just pulling up this memo, too, that was released in 2020. I don't know if you saw this, but U.S. intelligence agencies warned months before the election that foreign adversaries, including China, Russia, Iran, North Korea, had the capability to compromise U.S. elections, particularly vulnerable voter registration databases.
Right.
And so I'm assuming these databases are held online and they're not, maybe they're not secured or they're on old systems. It's interesting. I want to look up how we're, holding that information. But we know that that China particularly access voter data, and they created driver's licenses and to be able to create people for mail-in ballots.
That's right. Fake people.
Is that right?
Exactly right. Our good friend John Solomon over at Just the News doing some incredible reporting on this.
Mm-hmm.
There was a truckload of illegal driver's licenses stopped in Chicago 2020.
Mm-hmm.
10,000 fake applications found in Muskegon, Michigan for ballots.
It certainly makes me think about, when we were all watching the election occur in 2020 and then everything stopped, right?
Yeah, everything stopped.
What in the world is going on?
All the swing states stopped voting. I got to leave it there. But yeah, we got a lot to talk about on this one, Ivy. Thank you.
Well, if we can clean up the district, redistricting, we can clean up, pass that Save America Act. Hopefully we can get things cleaned up here.
We'll be right back.
This May 2nd, step into history at Ellis Island, where over 12 million immigrants first set foot on the path to the American dream. Experience an unforgettable evening with exclusive access to the museum, rare artifacts, live entertainment, and a powerful 3-course dinner inside one of the most iconic landmarks in the world. Hear from voices like Glenn Beck as we celebrate the heroes, the heritage, and the future of this great nation. As the night builds, fireworks will light up New York Harbor, honoring 250 years of freedom. And if you can't be there, the RAV team will be there on the ground for full minute-by-minute reporting. One nation, one story, one unforgettable night.
Through every storm, every moment of uncertainty,
everybody needs to pray for Charlie Kirk right now.
RAV has stood strong.
We're not going to tolerate this stuff anymore.
Turn that anger into motivation to save this nation.
When we move together, there is power.
The cries of this widow will echo like a battle cry.
This is more than news. It's a movement.
This revolution of people taking their countries back.
A turning point. A chance to be part of something greater than yourself. Scan the QR code and stand with RAV. The story isn't over, and neither is your part in it. Step in. Be counted. Be heard. Together, we are RAV.
We will achieve American greatness. And we are just getting started.
This is Rashad from Boston, Massachusetts, and I love Real America's Voice. It is the best place for real news and content. Much love.
Hi, my name's Paul Foyer. I'm Foyer04 in the Getter Chat. I love RAV for all the Getter, all the War Room Posse, and all of you guys. Love y'all. Bye.
My name is Kyle. I'm with Real America's Voice because we can chat with each other, the hosts, even management. We are the RAV family, and we're better together.
If you can't win at the polls, you take them to court. That's become a technique for the left, hasn't it? They can't get their policies through by way of the voters or by the way of legislatures at the state level or at the federal level, so they take their issues to court, like the Green New Deal. If they can't get something done, they'll attack energy companies in court. It's become a common play, but it's not working the way they would like. Carrie Severino. the Judicial Network president, joining me now. Carrie, good morning.
Morning.
All right, so another blow to the climate court tactics, Chevron versus Plaquemine Parish, and Chevron wins. It's an 8-0 decision here from the High Court, the Supreme Court. Tell me what this means, and what was the game being played here, Carrie?
Yeah, it was really amazing to have Justice Thomas writing the opinion and everyone down to Justice Jackson going in the same direction. So that's kind of an incredible accomplishment. This is because some of the tactics from the climate lobby on the left are so outrageous. You got a unanimous Supreme Court rejecting them. They have been running these lawsuits really with the goal of, again, you can't get it done in legislation. You can't get a carbon tax or something. They're going to try to bankrupt the oil companies. And since 2013, parishes in Louisiana have had more than 40 lawsuits targeting these oil industries. And what's amazing is they're targeting them for behavior going back to the 1940s. During World War II, they were drilling for oil, and they're saying, well, you kind of wrecked areas of our coastline drilling for oil. Well, you know what they were doing? They were making aviation gas for World War II, trying to fight the Nazis in Europe. It's outrageous because they're also trying to use a law passed 40 years later to go back and bring that in. They want to get hundreds of millions of dollars, maybe billions of dollars of awards in this in an effort to bankrupt them. What the court said is when they're working for the government, they were doing this for government contracts. You can't just haul them into state court. You have to at least bring them into federal court to have these heards, because as iffy as sometimes federal courts can be, we know they're not perfect. The state courts in this case are particularly bad for that because they are not giving the oil companies a fair shake, and they're awarding very unfair judgments in these cases. In this case, trying to use a 40-year later law to hold the oil companies responsible
and make it retroactive.
Yeah, exactly.
It really is
by decades.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. Look, do they understand? I don't know if they know or care. If Chevron was bankrupt, if Exxon was bankrupt, if we didn't have oil companies in America, we wouldn't be on the air right now. We wouldn't be sitting here because we wouldn't have the energy needed. America needs vast quantities of energy, vast quantities, to keep functioning every day. And short of that, we would just be zero. And look, windmills and solar panels aren't getting it done. And in fact, it could be argued quite plainly that solar panels, for example, are highly toxic, much more damaging to the environment. You have to bulldoze acres and acres of woodland and farm fields to put in these solar panels. And yet these folks will continue to fight every step of the way because it's not about energy, is it? It's about power.
Yeah, well, it's about getting rid of all of the actual native power to get power to these individual groups. I think that's right. And they're trying to use a home court here advantage to be able to shake down these companies and continue this process. It's a really good thing that we're now not letting the forum shopping and people trying to gain that advantage, so that at least the companies get a fair shake. And I'm confident that in federal court, a little more reason will prevail, and they'll be able to say, you know what, if you're trying to help the U.S. war effort, that's actually a reason that sometimes we do need that. How would we have won World War II without energy, right? Let alone going into the 21st century.
Yeah. These schemes by the climate lobby, and again, I ask, who is the climate lobby? Who is it, and who's trying to create power for themselves and control for themselves? Because look, if you destroy the energy sector in America, there won't be anything to control. You'll have power over a wasteland. And so I've never understood this. There'll be nothing here. And so I don't get that. Thankfully, the Supreme Court gets it, and other courts are getting it. But in the meantime, Chevron or Exxon or whomever else have to pay tens of millions, maybe more, for attorneys, lawyer fees, protect all of this. I mean, it's a drain on what they're doing. That money could be hiring new people, looking for new sources of energy, creating more stability for America, and instead they're blowing it on lawyers, right?
Yeah, and think of the years put into this litigation. Sometimes the process is the punishment, and that's very, very frustrating. Although in this case, we're talking about a $744 million lawsuit just in this one case against Chevron alone. Remember, there's at least 40 different cases. All the different oil companies are involved. So, you know, the lawyers' fees are absurd by any normal standards, but they're a drop in the bucket compared to the kind of money that was trying to be extracted from these groups. And that would just be going back in to fuel more more of this climate lawfare. So thank goodness Justice Thomas, in a really concise 12-page opinion, this was like, none of these 140-page, all these going into these details. It's just like, here it is. Here's the law. Go back and fix it.
Yeah, go back and fix it. These cases, you can't, it's like judging history based on today's, opinions. You can't do that. You can't go back 100 years and use a metric that is a modern metric against what was done 100 years ago or during World War II, and yet they continue to do these things. Is the climate lobby going away, or do they just continue to retool? Because you've got all these leftist billionaires that seem to want to pump the money in. So are they going anywhere, or is this something we have to be stuck with for foreseeable future?
Well, I think as long as they win, they certainly will not go anywhere. So that's why this decision is so important, because if they're continuing to be able to win and extract this kind of money, it just feeds back into itself. And now you can invest that money in more and more lawsuits. So I don't expect them to go away anytime soon. I think we have to maintain vigilance. And that's why it's so important to have judges who are going to be faithful to the Constitution and the rule of law. If we didn't have judges as a backstop here, again, it's not a perfect backstop, but boy, thank God for the Supreme Court in this case, and thank God for judges who are putting their feet down on these things, because this is not something we can allow to continue. Once it starts having success for them and it starts costing them more than it's winning them, maybe then it'll start to slow down.
Yeah, we'll see. Carrie Severino, good conversation. Always nice to see you. Thank you for being here. Common sense hopefully will prevail more often than not. That's all I can tell you. We'll be right back.
Real America's Voice is growing, and now it's all in one place. Introducing the new and improved RAV app, built for access, community, and choice, not paywalls. Here's the key. RAV is still free to watch. No sign-in, no membership required. Your favorite live streams, breaking coverage, and video on demand are all right there. Free, just like always.
For the War Room Posse, we have to be a force multiplier on this. We have to stick the landing.
In the White House, in the Oval Office, you're crushing it, my friend.
And if you want more, the members section is your backstage pass. Get exclusive behind-the-scenes photos and videos, insider moments from the studio and the field, and early access to new content before it goes public. Members can also unlock special experiences like virtual meet and greets, member-only auctions, and select event access, plus commercial-free viewing of certain shows inside the app. It's not just an app, it's a community. Download the RAV app today. Find it in the App Store and Google Play.
All right, back to it now. The United States has begun, and this is an unfortunate situation in my estimation, right? But the United States has launched a tariff refund system after President Trump lost a court battle there over tariffs. The court saying that some of the tariffs he put in place back on Liberation Day were not legal. So the federal government yesterday launched a system to process and deliver tariff refunds to return money to businesses that paid them after the Supreme Court found specific tariffs under President Trump imposed to be illegal. Now, here's my question. If Company A paid tariffs, then Company A passed some of that expense on to consumers like you and I potentially. Why does Company A get all the money back and the consumers get nothing? You see, there's always something, isn't there? The system is under the purview of the U.S. Customs and Border Protection. The refunds address tariffs paid on the duties imposed under the International Emergency Economic Powers Act, IEPA. The Supreme Court ruled that IEPA did not grant the president the authority to impose tariffs. It was not a surprise, by the way. The tariffs have brought in roughly $170 billion. To be eligible for a refund, the company must file a registration. CBP indicated that tens of thousands of importers had done so already, accounting for roughly $127 billion in potential refunds. We'll see where this leads, and then we'll let you know what happens. I see lawsuits in the future. More lawyers making more money. Now, many of you have struggled with weight loss. You lose it and you gain it back. What if I told you it's not your fault? It's not points or shakes or living at the gym. And if it was willpower, you'd have already done it. What if I told you your metabolism is not broken, it's turned off? You want to learn more? Do what I did. Go to My Pure Health. You can find it today at gruberhealth.com. gruberhealth.com. You can book a free consultation, see if it's a good fit. It's all natural. You'll eat real food. You don't even need to exercise. Turn your metabolism back on and learn the strategy to keep that weight off so you feel better. No more aching joints, no more issues, no more challenges. That's right. You're back. You're real. gruberhealth.com. gruberhealth.com. This is Daybreak. I'll take a moment and be right back.
Real America's Voice is growing, and now it's all in one place. Introducing the new and improved RAV app, built for access, community, and choice, not paywalls. Here's the key. RAV is still free to watch. No sign-in, no membership required. Your favorite live streams, breaking coverage, and video on demand are all right there. Free, just like always.
For the War Room Posse, we have to be a force multiplier on this. We have to stick the landing.
In the White House, in the Oval Office, you're crushing it, my friend.
And if you want more, the members section is your backstage pass. Get exclusive behind-the-scenes photos and videos, insider moments from the studio and the field, and early access to new content before it goes public. Members can also unlock special experiences like virtual meet and greets, member-only auctions, and select event access. Plus, commercial-free viewing of certain shows inside the app. It's not just an app, it's a community. Download the RAV app today. Find it in the App Store and Google Play.
When it's breaking, we're moving.
Breaking news. Breaking news.
News doesn't sleep. At Real America's Voice, we don't get to crash or lose focus. That's why we drink Soldier Fuel to stay ahead of the chaos, because we do this for you.
So good.
Soldier Fuel has no sugar, so no crash.
Now that's a game changer.
I'm fueled up now. Woo!
Used by the U.S. military every day. Now available to you.
This is huge.
Built by Patriots for Patriots.
Now it's time for you to do the Soldier Fuel Challenge. Order Soldier Fuel, film yourself cracking one open, and taking the Soldier Fuel Challenge. Upload your video at soldierfuel.com/challenge, and you'll be entered to win a free shipment of Soldier Fuel.
That's what I'm talking about.
Your video could also be featured on air. Just scan the QR code on your screen or go to soldierfuel.com/challenge to enter. Drink what the RAV hosts drink. Soldier Fuel.
Let's go.
It's Mama Love in northern Minnesota. You know, a collective voice is much louder than a single voice. Thanks, RAV, for giving us a place to chat and connect. See y'all in chat.
This is Giselle Chaffin. I'm from North Carolina. I'd like to let you know that RAV News is the best news. Number one news. Truth seekers seek to find the truth. It'll set you free.
Hey, this is SEAL Team from Missouri. I like Real America's Voice because it's real news for real people, and it's real good.
All right, welcome back to Daybreak. I have a very special segment for you today. If you're struggling with thinning hair, you'll want to pay very close attention because I think you'll find this very helpful. We have a special guest joining me now, naturopath practitioner Mandy Beechner. Excuse me, Mandy. She's a board-certified trichologist, and she's going to share a simple natural ritual women can use to promote thicker and fuller hair appearance. Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me. I'm happy to be here.
All right. I understand you've partnered with a company called Pure Ants, who specializes in natural hair care. What can you tell me?
That's right. So what I love about Pure Ants is that they use natural and organic ingredients in their products. Ingredients backed by real science that are proven to work. So they don't use harsh chemicals either, like you would find in most skincare and hair care products. No parabens, silicones, no sodium lauryl sulfate. So this makes Purance a great option for women with mature and sensitive skin.
All right, so I understand they have it's pretty much a groundbreaking solution for hair that thins out, and that bothers women a lot. I know that as they get older, their hair thins, and it's an issue for them. What can you tell me about that?
Absolutely. It's called Hydrolift shampoo, but this isn't like most shampoos on the market. Hydrolift uses a unique 3-phase hair growth system. And the first phase is the root revival system. So ingredients like cocoa glucide help dissolve waxy buildup that can suffocate your hair follicles and actually stunt growth. This allows your follicles to breathe again. The second phase is the hair thickening matrix. Ingredients like hydrolyzed wheat protein attach to the weak spots on your hair follicles. Then they create a molecular scaffold that strengthens your strands from within over time, so the hair actually looks fuller and thicker. And then the third phase is the protective essence shield. This phase is all about protecting your hair from further damage, such as environmental stressors. And the Hydrolift uses natural ingredients that are great for forming this sort of invisible shield around your hair follicles. This lets in crucial nourishing ingredients while keeping out the harmful chemicals.
And easy to use, something you can use every day?
Great question. It's actually really easy to use. One of the things that I love about the Hydrolift shampoo is how quickly it forms a lather. You want to apply it to extremely wet hair and scalp, so it makes sense to use it when you shower. Most women should be able to get a lather in about 15 to 30 seconds, and then you want to let the shampoo sit for about 1 to 2 minutes, and then you rinse it out. That's it. And for best results, it's recommended to use the Hydrolift 2 to 3 times a week, but you don't need to use it every day.
There you go, 2 to 3 times a week. All right, how do they find it? How do they get it?
Yeah, so just head over to purance.com to shop the Hydrolift. And for a limited time, viewers on your show can actually get 35% off their order by entering discount code EARLY on the checkout page. And I also want to mention that Purance offers an industry-leading 365-day money-back guarantee. So you have a full year to try the Hydrolift shampoo risk-free. And if you're not happy with your results for any reason, they'll refund your entire purchase.
Well, there you have it, 35% off. It's a pretty good deal,
Yes.
Ms. Beechner. I greatly appreciate you being here. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Again, purance.com. You can place your order now. Meanwhile, back to the headlines today. The Iranians are warning President Trump on X, on social media, that Iran is prepared, quote, to reveal new battlefield cards. I'm not sure what that means, but they're not afraid to threaten. Iran's parliamentary speaker, Mohammad Baghdad Ghalibaf, sent a direct warning to President Trump saying that Iran will not accept negotiations with the U.S. while under threat. We'll see how that plays out. And meanwhile, as I've told you and talked about on this program, the Democrats continue, in my estimation, to root for Iran. They hate President Trump so much, and want him to fail so badly, they're willing to root for our enemies. And Iran, make no mistake, has been our enemy for 50 years. 50 years they've killed Americans, starting with the U.S. Embassy in 1979, moving on to Beirut in the 1980s, the USS Cole in the year 2000. The list goes on. Al-Shabaab, Hamas, the Houthis, Hezbollah, all bought and paid for by the Iranians. And yet Ro Khanna and other Democrats seem to be pretty on the side of Iran. Listen to this.
Are you suggesting that Obama's leadership on Iran was better? Because under President Obama, there were 14 wire transfers to a, hold on. There were 14 wire transfers to a Swiss account linked to Hezbollah between 2014 and 2016. That was a total of $1.7 billion. The same $1.7 billion he told Congress was frozen Iranian assets. Now, there was a back channel to Tehran through Valerie Jarrett, active for 2012 to 2024. This was after he left office. So, you know, it was almost like a shadow government. He also sent pellets of cash in a plane to Iran. Now, why would you send money to Iran knowing that they are building a nuclear weapon and they are the leading sponsor of terrorism?
Barack Obama was a great statesman who left America much safer. I wouldn't put Donald Trump in the same paragraph.
It's embarrassing, isn't it? Barack Obama put $1.7 billion in cash in the Iranians' hands, the same amount of money that went to Hezbollah. Joe Biden released more than $6 billion in frozen Iranian assets during his time in the White House. That money also went to fund al-Shabaab, Hamas, the Houthis, and others. And then there's this narrative that if Donald Trump goes after power plants and other infrastructure in Iran, somehow that's a war crime. Let me assure you, it is not. Here's our ambassador to the UN, Mike Waltz, explaining that. Listen.
To get ahead of a lot of the critics and hand-wringing, throwing out irresponsible terms like war crimes, attacking, destroying infrastructure that has clearly and historically been used for dual military purposes is not a war crime. I mean, we've heard that from Democratic lawmakers, but we've heard that from others, and it is irresponsible and just flat wrong.
Yeah, just flat wrong. But they hate Trump so much. They'll call it war crimes. They'll say Barack Obama was a much better statesman and so on and so forth. Barack Obama was a globalist. A guy who, before he took office, said he was going to radically transform America. Well, he succeeded in that, didn't he? And not for the better. Not from where I sit. And then, of course, Joe Biden came along and threw the borders wide open. Not for the betterment of America, but for the betterment of the Democrat Party and its political power. Those are the facts, my friends. They're not really in dispute. People can say, that's not true. Of course it's true. Why else would you have a wide open border with people coming in? You have no idea where they're coming from or who they are or what their intentions are. You're not doing health and wellness checks. You're not doing anything. They're just rolling across the border. Remember when Texas put up razor wire and the federal government came in with bulldozers to take it out? It was for power. Barack Obama radically transformed America, and not in a good way. That's my response to Ro Khanna. I'll take a break. What's your response? Send me an email, SteveGruber.com. Don't forget to follow us on social media, all the platforms. Hit the like button, smash it, and follow, of course. We'll be right back.
Real America's Voice is growing, and now it's all in one place. Introducing the new and improved RAV app, built for access, community, and choice, not paywalls. Here's the key. RAV is still free to watch. No sign-in, no membership required. Your favorite live streams, breaking coverage, and video on demand are all right there. Free, just like always.
For the War Room Posse, we have to be a force multiplier on this. We have to stick the landing.
In the White House, in the Oval Office, you're crushing it, my friend.
And if you want more, the members section is your backstage pass. Get exclusive behind-the-scenes photos and videos, insider moments from the studio and the field, and early access to new content before it goes public. Members can also unlock special experiences like virtual meet and greets, member-only auctions, and select event access, plus commercial-free viewing of certain shows inside the app. It's not just an app, it's a community. Download the RAV app today. Find it in the App Store and Google Play.
When it's breaking,
we're moving.
Breaking news. Breaking news.
News doesn't sleep. At Real America's Voice, we don't get to crash or lose focus. That's why we drink Soldier Fuel to stay ahead of the chaos, because we do this for you.
So good.
Soldier Fuel has no sugar, so no crash.
Now that's a game changer.
I'm fueled up now. Woo! Woo!
Used by the U.S. military every day. Now available to you.
This is huge.
Built by patriots for patriots.
Now it's time for you to do the Soldier Fuel Challenge. Order Soldier Fuel, film yourself cracking one open, and taking the Soldier Fuel Challenge. Upload your video at soldierfuel.com/challenge, and you'll be entered to win a free shipment of Soldier Fuel.
That's what I'm talking about.
Your video could also be featured on air. Just scan the QR code on your screen or go to soldierfuel.com/challenge to enter. Drink with the RAV hosts drink. Soldier Fuel.
Let's go.
It's Mama Love in northern Minnesota. You know, a collective voice is much louder than a single voice. Thanks, Rav, for giving us a place to chat and connect. See y'all in chat.
This is Giselle Chaffin. I'm from North Carolina. I'd like to let you know that RAV News is the best news. Number one news. Truth seekers seek to find the truth. It'll set you free.
Hey, this is SEAL Team from Missouri. I like Real America's Voice because it's real news for real people, and it's real good.
Wide open borders and, you know, the long-term damage of that. And you look at sanctuary cities and so forth and the problems that they cause. Remarkable, honestly. And it wasn't done to better America. It was done to strengthen the Democrats' voting base. That's my guess. We'll see what my next guest thinks. Congressman John James, he represents Michigan 10. He's also running for governor in Michigan. Congressman, nice to see you today. Good to see you, sir. Can you hear me? All right, we have a little technical issue. Can you hear me, John?
Loud and clear. Let me see.
There you go. All right, so I was talking about sanctuary cities and sanctuary policies. They're not good for America. They're not good for the people. And yet I continue to see this happen in places all over the country. What about Michigan? What about sanctuary status in Michigan? What are your thoughts on that? All right, got a little issue there with John James. We'll get him right back and get that figured out for you. Sanctuary cities and states have created real problems, as you know, creating voter issues and issues with, well, security in some places. I mean, when you bring an influx of people in, what are you going to do? Your hospitals get overrun, your daycares get overrun, your schools are filled with people oftentimes that don't speak English. That creates big problems, right? And John James says Michigan will not be a sanctuary state no matter what happens. We're not going to do it. And we'll get back to him in just a moment. All right. But speaking of immigration, and I began this with Ivey a bit earlier, the immigration policies of this president are doing real and lasting political damage to the Democrats because they don't have their ability to bring all these folks in unabated, unchallenged, and it creates a real change for them. He shut down the border, stopped the flow of people into blue cities and states. They're not able to maintain their population levels as they flee to places like Texas and Tennessee and Florida. It's really an important step forward for this country. Smaller populations, these cities and states are going to lose significant electoral power in the present, but even more so in the future. Long term, this is a disaster for Democrats. A sealed border is a disaster, politically speaking, for Democrats. There's just no two ways about it. The left tries to frame their anti-ICE protests as a humanitarian issue, but really it's not. It's nothing to do with that. It has to do with political power. And I've told you that for years here. It has to do with political power, which is all they have really ever cared about. The entire issue can be summarized by the migration. Is Congressman James back? Is that what you said? All right, Congressman. Sanctuary cities, you say in Michigan it's not going to happen.
Absolutely not. There will be no sanctuary cities. We will abide by federal law. We will work with and coordinate with the Trump administration to make sure we keep our nation safe, to make sure we keep our states safe. Joe Biden left our borders wide open. 10 million people who we do not know, who we have not vetted, who right now, to this day, right now, Iran threatens to expand the battlefield. Who knows? It is not in our own backyard, Steve. So we have to make sure that we keep our people safe. And as governor of the state of Michigan, my number one priority is to make sure that people of the state of Michigan can walk the streets and feel safe and make sure that we are free. I didn't go over there to fight terrorists in Iraq to have my children be threatened by terrorists here at home.
I agree with that. So let me ask you about the war in Iran. As you just mentioned, they've said we've got new cards to play. Of course, that's what they always do. They say the Strait of Hormuz is open. 12 hours later, the Strait of Hormuz is closed, and they attack an Indian vessel and a French vessel. Strange. My feeling is we need to finish what we started here. We need to finish this deal. Your thoughts?
I pray for peace each and every single day. I hate war. I've been to war. I know what it does to people. I know what it does to the soul. But at the same exact time, we have to make sure that war does not come to our shores. As I said before, I didn't fight in a war so that my children would have to fight in it. Because of weak leaders in the past, we are still fighting a war 47 years after Iran started it. Make no mistake, Iran has been at war with us for the better part of 5 decades. President Trump didn't start this war, but he is going to finish it. So again, while I hate war, while I pray for peace each and every single day, Iran cannot have a nuke. They cannot have the means to threaten the American people. They cannot continue to sponsor terrorists in the region and around the world so that our children and grandchildren have to continue to say that we did nothing in our generation.
Michigan, one of the 7 critical swing states. As you know, Congressman, you are running for governor to be the Republican nominee to be governor of the state of Michigan. I look at Michigan, the only state in America to raise income tax in the last couple of years. Michigan, the only place to get rid of right to work ever in the country. And we see people fleeing to Tennessee and Texas and Florida. What do you do to make Michigan competitive and a state that's in the mix when it comes to new plants for Ford or John Deere or anyone else?
You know, everybody talks about competing with Mexico and China. We can't even compete with Ohio and Indiana because of their better, more favorable business and entrepreneurial environment. We have to lower the taxes. And I'm the only one running for governor who's actually done that, supporting the working family tax cuts last year so that people could put more money back in their pockets. No tax on tips, no tax on overtime, and taking care of our seniors. These are the things that work. We are looking at states that have the lower tax structure, and they are pulling population away from states like Michigan that has the second to last growth rate in the entire nation. But we have the second highest unemployment. We're going to get back to what makes sense. We're going to get back to common sense. We're going to put power back in the hands of the people, local control, and we're going to lower income taxes. These are things that work. But if you look at what happened with the Democrats, they are going full on crazy. Marxist policies do not work anywhere they've been tried. And so we are going to focus on beating them. Another poll just came out. I'm up in the primary by double digits, and I'm up in the general, according to public polling, Real Clear polling, on both Democrat opponents. None of these great ideas make a lick of difference if we don't have a Republican who will fight and win. And that's exactly what I'm going to do in November.
Congressman, always good to talk to you. Appreciate it. Next time we'll have you for a few minutes longer, but I appreciate it. I know you got to get back to work, but thanks for stopping in this morning.
Yes, sir. Thank you for your patience, sir. God bless.
David, John James, Congressman running for governor in Michigan, leading most polls as of late, but Perry Johnson has come up in a couple of the polls, having invested a serious amount of money in advertising and so forth. The primary in Michigan is in August, so we'll see how that plays out. It's a late primary, August in Michigan. John James, a leading contender for the Republicans. I'll take a break, and I'll be back after this.
Real America's Voice is growing, and now it's all in one place. Introducing the new and improved RAV app, built for access, community, and choice, not paywalls. Here's the key. RAV is still free to watch. No sign-in, no membership required. Your favorite live streams, breaking coverage, and video on demand are all right there. Free, just like always.
For the War Room Posse, we have to be a force multiplier on this. We have to stick the landing.
In the White House, in the Oval Office, you're crushing it, my friend.
And if you want more, the members section is your backstage pass. Get exclusive behind-the-scenes photos and videos, insider moments from the studio and the field, and early access to new content before it goes public. Members can also unlock special experiences like virtual meet and greets, member-only auctions, and select event access, plus commercial-free viewing of certain shows inside the app. It's not just an app, it's a community. Download the RAV app today. Find it in the App Store and Google Play.
When it's breaking,
we're moving.
Breaking news. Breaking news.
News doesn't sleep. At Real America's Voice, we don't get to crash or lose focus. That's why we drink Soldier Fuel to stay ahead of the chaos, because we do this for you.
So good.
Soldier Fuel has no sugar, so no crash.
Now that's a game changer.
I'm fueled up now. Woo!
Used by the U.S. military every day. Now available to you.
This is huge.
Built by patriots for patriots.
Now it's time for you to do the Soldier Fuel Challenge. Order Soldier Fuel, film yourself cracking one open, and taking the Soldier Fuel Challenge. Upload your video at soldierfuel.com/challenge, and you'll be entered to win a free shipment of Soldier Fuel.
That's what I'm talking about.
Your video could also be featured on air. Just scan the QR code on your screen or go to soldierfuel.com/challenge to enter. Drink what the RAV hosts drink. Soldier Fuel.
Let's go.
It's Mama Love in northern Minnesota. You know, a collective voice is much louder than a single voice. Thanks, Rav, for giving us a place to chat and connect. See y'all in chat.
This is Giselle Chaffin. I'm from North Carolina. I'd like to let you know that RAV News is the best news. Number one news. Truth seekers seek to find the truth. It'll set you free.
All right, let's check in on sports now with Brock Palmbush.
Games last night in the first round. Cleveland beat Toronto 115-105. Cavaliers up 2-0. Atlanta held off New York 107-106. Series tied at 1. And Minnesota beat Denver on the road 119-114. Series tied at 1. San Antonio's Victor Wembanyama won the NBA's Defensive Player of the Year award in a unanimous vote, the first time that has ever happened. In the NHL playoffs, there were 4 games in the first round. Philadelphia shut out Pittsburgh 3-0. Flyers up 2-0. Carolina beat Ottawa in double overtime 3-2. Hurricanes up 2-0. Dallas knocked off Minnesota 4-2. Series tied at 1. And Edmonton won over Anaheim 4-3. Oilers up 1-0. In Major League Baseball, there were 10 games. American League winners included Toronto, Houston, and the Athletics. National League winners included Atlanta, the Chicago Cubs, and LA Dodgers. That's a look at sports. Back to you, Steve.
All right, Brock, thank you for that. Greatly appreciated. The Supreme Court is going to hear Catholic parishes challenge. After Colorado, it's always Colorado, isn't it? It's always Colorado. They prevented Catholic preschools, pre-K programs from getting any money, even though state law says the money follows the child to public or private schools. Didn't matter to Colorado, of course. They went after the Catholics. So the Supreme Court agreed to hear a Catholic parish's argument after Colorado excluded its schools from the state's program that pays for families to send their kids to pre-K programs. Your arguments in the case of St. Mary's v. Roy are expected to take place this fall. Looking forward to it. The case could redefine how states balance anti-discrimination laws with religious freedom. You can't just cut out the Catholic schools and say, well, they're religious schools. That's right, they are. And I direct your attention to the First Amendment, the free exercise thereof. You can't give it to secular and not religious. That's just the way that comes down, and there you are. At any rate, greatly appreciate where we've been today. Don't forget to check out YouTube and the Forgotten America podcast, a series of great podcasts. And this week, it's Paul Seegert talking about healthcare insurance and how the healthcare industry is the dirtiest thing you're ever going to come across in your life. These folks behind the scenes, not the people that provide your care, the people that provide the money. You can become a free subscriber on YouTube. Check it out. It's Steve Gruber. It's the Forgotten America podcast with me and Ivey. And she'll be back in the next hour as well. So will I after this.
Real America's Voice is growing, and now it's all in one place. Introducing the new and improved RAV app, built for access, community, and choice, not paywalls. Here's the key. RAV is still free to watch. No sign-in, no membership required. Your favorite live streams, breaking coverage, and video on demand are all right there. Free, just like always.
For the War Room Posse, we have to be a force multiplier on this. We have to stick the landing.
In the White House, in the Oval Office, you're crushing it, my friend.
And if you want more, the members section is your backstage pass. Get exclusive behind-the-scenes photos and videos, insider moments from the studio and the field, and early access to new content before it goes public. Members can also unlock special experiences like virtual meet and greets, member-only auctions, and select event access, plus commercial-free viewing of certain shows inside the app. It's not just an app, it's a community. Download the RAV app today. Find it in the App Store and Google Play.
When it's breaking,
we're moving.
Breaking news. Breaking news.
News doesn't sleep. At Real America's Voice, we don't get to crash or lose focus. That's why we drink Soldier Fuel to stay ahead of the chaos, because we do this for you.
So good.
Soldier Fuel has no sugar, so no crash.
Now that's a game changer.
I'm fueled up now. Woo!
Used by the U.S. military every day. Now available to you.
This is huge.
Built by patriots for patriots.
Now it's time for you to do the Soldier Fuel Challenge. Order Soldier Fuel, film yourself cracking one open, and taking the Soldier Fuel Challenge. Upload your video at soldierfuel.com/challenge, and you'll be entered to win a free shipment of Soldier Fuel.
That's what I'm talking about.
Your video could also be featured on air. Just scan the QR code on your screen or go to soldierfuel.com/challenge to enter. Drink with the RAV hosts drink, Soldier Fuel.
Let's go.